Tuwaste, Bonjour. My name is Delwin Fiddler Moto. I am the executive director and founder of Positive Tree of Life, and I want to invite you to the webinar entitled Planting Prayers to the Four Directions and all of our relatives. A special LCO Ojibwe College Free Virtual Ag Talk session. Whether you know a lot or very little about indigenous traditions, whether or not you have ever offered a blessing while planting, or whether or not you have been planted this sharing or have been planting. This sharing circle is for you. And in our time together, we will talk about the history behind the planting prayers. Sorry about that. Um, where was I now? Yeah, time we come together to our history behind the planting prayers and songs and dances to the earth. The harvest, the seeds, the plants, the planting time. We will learn about earth offerings, and we will learn some of the sacred words of Lakota and Ojibwe planting prayers. In our circle, we will pass the talking stick and to share our experiences and the visions and hopes of the world we will plant and heal together. You will be encouraged to give voice to your own planting prayer while we walk together. Please see the Ag Talk description below this video and the registration link. This session is free, online, and open to everyone. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me or Paza about the talk with any questions you may have. Plamaria, Mitch, my relatives, we look forward to seeing and sharing with you on March 1st at 6 p.m. Central Time.
So that's a little bit about the planting prayer webinar that you're going to be doing with La Coudray Ojibwe College. Um, and it's really exciting because, first of all, it is free. So that's cool. And it's online, so it's safe. And why do you think we need a webinar? Why do you think people should be sharing about planting prayers? Why are they important?
Well, there's many reasons, but the many things are to reconnect ourselves back to Mother Earth, back to our line of our ancestors, way how they went through life. But it's a reminder to get reconnected to your roots of the elders from the past and to now. It's our way to continue traditions and culture and the knowledge that we have from the creator above that we ascend on us from the stars to put that into the ground, what we have Mother Earth. It's very important to continue this communication with the plant life, but also with ourselves and then for the people together as one.
Indigenous ancestors, they believed you say the communication, right, with the plant. That may be a new concept for people that don't have that tradition.
Ah, ah.
And so the idea of talking, acknowledging the gift of plants, of Mother Earth, you feel like it's important not just to plant the seed, but also to have this relationship.
Yes, that you as all people walk through the forest, you feel different. You see the water. You're like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. You get to experience that. They're feeling the same things too. They're saying, hey, hello, how you doing? And that's when they share their knowledge, like bringing the blossoms, the tree come back to life. The flowers start to open up. So the different times of the year, each has its different seasons, and that's why it's vital to reconnect. Not to reconnect, but work with the nature, how we are, wherever matter of stage that we're in, the knowledge of it, or what have you. We're coming back again to making that connection. And before we do certain things in that such manner, such way, it's a good to remind ourselves where we come from, how we're connected to Mother Earth, to land, air, and water,
Mhm.
um, and and how we're also within ourselves need the same medicines and same love and same attributes, or the medicines of what they need in sunlight. They need water. They need to be planted. They need, it starts from there. So it could go to, that's a reminder of all our walks of life and how we want to interpret that with law of the land, um, things like that, planting together. So you're not only planting those medicines, you also plant that with your hands that are given. These things are very magical, and you bring that in, you bring that love back in. So you're having friendship, I guess, if you will, friendship gesture, and then the earth is going to show you different pathways to that way as well.
So the workshop offered through it's offered through Coudray Extension Office, and it's part of their Ag Talk Tuesday series. And they do a lot of focus in the series on agriculture. They just did one on alternative gardening methods, but some of it is very agriculture based. This is bringing in spirituality into the act of what the word agriculture, right, to cultivate the earth. But this is an idea of walking. You mentioned the word walk, right? Walking a path of partnership and acknowledgement, maybe friendship, words that maybe non-indigenous people don't have.
Hmm.
Um, so, and again, we'll mention that it is a free webinar. I think you should see it on the screen. We've posted in Paza, a couple places in the Chiquagaman Bay area. Um, and you can scan the QR code to register. You can also contact Maria Reganisi with Paza or me, and also Laura Merchant at LCO. And all that information is on the poster. It's with the slide present with today's presentation, and it's with the promos too. So if you have questions, you mentioned about uh, offering words from Lakota and Ojibwe prayer words. Um, what in the sharing circle? So the words would be offered in the hopes that people would think of their own prayers right before this coming planting season. Is that
Yes, yeah, because it's like you say, Miigwech, we say Pleamie or Piamelo. Medakiase is a common word for for us in the Midwest area, but also nations and our families have different interpretations of that certain type communications you with the trees and the plant life, but also uh, so when you walk in that such way, you also become the earth. The earth becomes you, and you come together, and that's why it's good to. They say when you do ceremony today, well, we're making that transition now. You can see it all over the world now. We're making that transition. We're coming back to all these
right?
years of whatever's going on. We're still trying to say that we're fighting for, we're speaking and dancing and praying and doing what we're doing for the plant life.
Right.
And as a performer, as a grass dancer, it's one of the things that we're very close to the ground. They, um, some styles are different. There's certain old styles, as you say. There's like shuffling, like today's contest now in Powwow Way, or when you do agriculture, or you different ways to put things together. But that medicine comes right here, same principle. So because every step you take, you start with your left or your right. You also go do it with your left or right. So you kind of keep that balance. And that medicine, same way. When you plant the tree, you're also believing a blessing on that same level. And it's not gonna. So you put that seed into the ground. You say that prayer, and then say Madakiase or Wopala Tonka, big thank you for bringing us life, and then you give that blessing to the seed. That time from a certain time that's gonna you know materialize. The food, the melons, the medicines that we need to keep going, and together, that's when you bring that back. Because today, a lot of people don't really respect that in that such way. You always hear about somebody else doing it or whoever. But again, the native people had a certain way to do it as well. And there's different type of, like if you look at the mounds, for example, the mounds is a perfect example, and it's all throughout the United States, Canada, all the way down to Mexico and to South America, what we call America. And that was our interpretation, our language, that we call ourselves in that such way, identify ourselves to the land, identify ourselves to the medicines. So you become that medicine. And everybody, not just the medicine people, but all people have a general knowledge about these different things. And that's when we continue to this day to bring that healing back into the plant life in that circle, so they can do what they do, and then we can do what we need to do to take each other's extractions of medicines for each other,
Hmm.
because we still need to have relationship with the plant life, and that way it'll make us what's connected to the stars above and then to the ground, and then
Hmm.
that coming together as a full circle. You're walking that road of healing, the healing path of
Hmm.
medicines.
You've used the words balance and medicine. Um, People think of plants as medicine, some do, and some think of the plant life, well, as nourishment, but maybe not the healing piece of it. So the planting prayers to bring in the spirituality and consciousness of, as you said, with these hands, that there's magic, to think of it in such a way. Does it mean that your crops will grow differently, or that your garden will be you know it it's really it's really about the experience, isn't it? um
Yeah, yes, it's kind of showing us that, because if you see today's times, you see that they drag all those big, large things, which mass production is, yes, is great, but we also have our ways too, that to accommodate in a major way, because the long as that you have that support and that medicine, that people, how do we each plant survives and help each other, same way with the human component to the plant, and that way the plants will come, have sunshine, water, carbon, minerals, and things like that to soil, and with those other things that we know how to do, that soil is going to be good forever. It's starting to, it will come back into it. So when it grows up, it does delivers and comes sprouting. Then when it comes back down, that root is still there. So then you plant the tree back in, another seed will come back in. It's already there. All they're doing now is reconnecting, like that. Then kind of shut off and like that, then supporting that. So each time it goes, it just gets support, 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 support. And then so you forever have those medicines, you know exactly where to go get those different medicines. Like sage, sweetgrass, yeah, turnips. There's all kinds of dandelions. There's mushrooms. All these different type of mushrooms, natural stuff that comes from the trees, and then the tree itself is also a medicine, and somewhat some of the things you can use for your teeth, you can use for your hygiene. At that back in the day, we didn't have that stuff. We had chocolate, we had honey,
and there's a little bit of medicinal value to
but
chocolate.
yes, yes.
You
So it's
met
exciting.
Yeah. You also mentioned mounds, and I guess we'll talk about. So this is the first talk, planting prayers, but there's also going to be a talk at the end of March on terracing, which is earth contouring, and that's an indigenous practice. You mentioned how the mounds, Native American mounds, identify the presence, and they have so many uses.
Mm,
So that will be another ag talk
okay.
Tuesday through Ojibwe College, um, coming up. I think it's March 23rd, I think. Um, but this talk is planning prayers to the four directions and all of our relatives with Delwin Fiddler Jr. Yakamote. And you have a very distinguished connection to a Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull chiefs. Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Yes, they're very close relatives of my tailspray. We have a very large family, um, big family, but particularly how related to Crazy Horse is specifically that the mother side of not his father, Worm, and all those other adopted people, or when that time happened when they took Crazy Horse out, everybody became Crazy Horse. It's kind of mind blowing, but that's a different topic, different thing. But the his mother is my great grandfather's daughter, and the
Okay.
mother to Crazy Horse. That's all
Wow.
related to that connection. And then
And
same
you,
way with crazy with Sitting Bull, same thing. Sitting Bull
okay.
is only about 25 miles away from Alkid, but years ago we used to be with what we call Standing Rock, the Hunkpapa, who was chosen to be the ones the head men of the whole Great Sioux Nation. And then as a keeper of the pipe, that's what it came about to bring those things together. But since after Little Bighorn and all those other nations that came under there chose to align ourselves to protect us, the only way we can survive at that moment in time, and we took on yellow hair, and then that's how they made alliances at the time with Shannon Rappel, um, and the Blood. You know, everybody, all these other natives that were there that were scattering in different directions, coming there for support, but also protecting the people and making that stand for the people. So at that time, it signifies a united alliance, and it still stands to this day. And it was for the minerals, it was for the plant life, it was for our way of life. And so, with that connection, they also brought that together and had to endure some things that nobody don't want to talk about, you know. But those three individuals were taking them someplace else, a location to like I don't know how you say it, um, punish them for what took place, even though that we took the flag and everything else out. So we still hold the flag, we still hold that standing. It's in the treaties, it's in history, it's still there. So um, we had that special connection with the families, but with that family also requires the knowledge of the how you treat yourself for within our countries respectfully, and it's all about sovereignty coming back into our true self again, to be whole again, and that's such loving, positive way. Not, not a you're trying to find peace with the planting of seeds and bringing that love and appreciation of the garden. The white man say the Garden of Eden, while we call it the Garden of Love or Garden of Life, because everything you eat is life, bring into your soul, your spirit,
Right.
and you give that back.
Absolutely.
You know.
Now, is this planting prayer talk only open to indigenous, or is
Oh
it
no, it's for everybody. It's for
everybody?
everybody because
Okay.
that's again the nations. This is for everybody because um, years ago I used to be very quiet about these different subjects or different things that I guess a comprehension of certain things, basic comprehension. Now I have a not say well verse, but I have some knowledge where everybody can come in because at one time we was all nations. We all come from warrior nations, but it's years ago we wasn't like how some things how people are saying, oh, he's upset, he's at my table everybody's invited, you know what I'm saying. um the more people that have this type of love and appreciation of plant life, and then trying to with their future generations and their children and so on could continue that relationship, because you're also making friends, you're also making side by side as friends, together, working together, you know, what we call this humble world, Mother Earth, you know.
That's a beautiful concept. So, we, hope that you will join us. It's again, it's a free webinar. There's Delwin. I think, are you out in the Dakotas there? Are you
Oh
back
gosh, yes,
home?
this picture, yeah, this picture's right on Bear Butte. Um,
Okay, you're back home.
yeah, back home
Yeah.
with Josh, and Josh, we was just now setting up to do a prayer, and we went to. I took Olga and Maria there to say a prayer, and told the history about that medicine
Hmm.
and the history of that mountain, and also people go there for many nations go there for prayers and stuff, and it's a sacred place,
That'd be an interesting video to do sometime on some of the sacred sites and how they got their names.
Yeah, actually my grandfather. There's stories to that. Like there's stories like like a children's book stories and you tell at bedtime, and then there's actual stories. Like most people say, oh, I'm gonna call it Devil's Tower. Well, that's not Devil's Tower, it's Multipla. They call it Multipla, but it's actually Paza. It's a tree. And if you go to Devil's Tower, they call it whatever, if you go in that, the first thing you see, you get up when you get to that certain spot, you can see all the circles. So kind of same thing. Now, one of the elders seen us pause what we did last year. Now they're doing their own programming, coming back to the circles, which I'm happy of. Please step up, people. Please programs, colleges, whoever, please step up and do what you can to reconnect with our way of life. So
With
everybody can see it.
so everybody can see it. And so in that spirit, this talk is free and it's open to everyone. You just need computer access. It's on Zoom. You will spend more time with Dell, and he will talk about the sacred words in Lakota and Ojibwe. You can forward questions ahead of time if you like, to Maria or to Paza or me, and it's a sharing circle. So please feel free, like, to bring your stories about planting prayers or your experiences of connecting with the earth in a partnership of spirituality, not so much of a I'm gonna I'm gonna tear earth and plant seeds and then take.
Yeah.
It's a connection.
Mm.
So make wish.
Yeah. Well,
Anything else we should say?
I just like that everybody's welcome, and please step forward. Don't be shy. Um, I was up there, and I'm coming back again. I love the territory. I love being home, and that connection that our nations are together in that such way. I have some relatives up there in that Minnesota area, and Michigan, and um, you know. Wisconsin areas were just like it's just like home. When I used to powwow like on a full time basis, I was home. Why am I feeling at home? But that's why I come to find out that connection with that medicine, with all the waters and plant. It took me different places, so I got to experience that, and hopefully this will bring out to start your wherever the case may be to reconnect in that such way. So
We've
welcome,
had
and we hope you
we,
see it at that time.
we've had a long winter. We're going to get like a huge snow dump tomorrow, but
Hmm.
but it is almost March,
Okay.
and so it's got to start at some point. And today
Yes.
was a great warm day, but Miigwech, everyone, please contact us if you have questions, and we hope to see you on March 1st.